Hello. Welcome back to Soul Search Sunday with Johnny Tiger on June 6th, 2021. And that's 6-6. Oh, if we need if we get one more six, then we got the devil's number right there. Last week has been kind of rough, uh, emotionally, as most of you know by now, and so I don't want to keep harping on it. But one of my best friend, whom I saw as a grandfather in my life, has chose to step out of this world. So now begin the long road to grieving, healing, and cherishing the memory that he left me with. I think sometimes through our lifetime, we accumulate a lot of these little griefs, pain. They never really quite go away, but as time goes by, they become easier, easier to deal with, easier to talk about. And what I'm going to be talking about today, it's one of these things that ordinarily, I wouldn't try to talk about it. I wouldn't try to explain it. I would just let it sit in the back of my mind and let people think whatever they would. I don't generally make a practice of explaining myself to people, not even to people who are really close to me half the time, to their great annoyances. My philosophy in life has often been that I am the way I am, I do the things I do, as long as I don't uh, feel I'm doing anything wrong myself, then anyone else, whatever they think, whatever their reason, doesn't really matter. If you really understand me, if you really love me, if you really are my friend, or if you really are my loved ones, then I don't have to explain myself. You should know by default. And if you are not my friend and not my loved ones, then I definitely don't need to explain myself to you because you are not important enough for me to want to explain things to, especially when it comes to things about myself. That may sound like kind of a snide, or snobbish kind of thing to say, but uh, it's meant to uh, be neither. It's just the way the way I am. It's in my personality. I don't spend a lot of time wondering what people think about me. I don't spend a lot of time wondering if I should make people understand why I do what I do, and things like that. However, um, a couple of weeks ago, I saw a post on Facebook from a lady. I don't really know her. I'm not quite sure how she ended up on my friends list. Uh, but the post caught my attention. In her post, she said, "Why are most men such cowards? When they want to break up with you, rather than come out and tell you and let you talk it over and deal with it together, they choose to do it when they are leaving on a long trip, or when they are leaving the country, when they are leaving town for work. So they are never there to deal with the repercussion. Why are men such cowards? I wanted to respond to that post, but I don't believe, I may be wrong, but I don't believe that the lady posted that in an honest attempt to get an answer. I think it was one of those posts that she just wanted to get it off her chest. And any attempt uh, uh, for men, especially men, because this was clearly a post that targeted men, any attempt for any man to try to reason this out and give her reasons will just come across as excuses, and will just be an chance for her to redirect her bitterness, anger, frustration onto whoever dare to raise an opposite uh, viewpoint. So I didn't. But the post stayed with me ever since I saw it, playing in my mind, running over the sore spot, the painful part of memory that I uh, am still dealing with. And that made me feel that I need to talk about it. I need to get my voice out there, and uh, I need to explain it to those who would listen. Why? Why is it that some of us might have done things or might choose to do things the cowardly way? So if you are a man watching this and if you have done it before, where you break up with a woman and you leave her a note and then you leave town or you're out of the country and uh, maybe you can relate to what I'm going to talk about today. If you're a woman and you have had it done to you before, maybe this will give you some kind of consolation. Maybe this will give you some kind of closure, I hope. And one way or another, I hope that people who watch this will not come back and judge me too harshly for having done this very thing myself. Not even once. I've done it twice. I've done it twice. Breaking up a relationship after withdrawing myself from the proximity first. Now, let me make this quite clear. Uh, I personally do not think that choosing to disclose your intention to leave uh, prior to leaving physically, prior to withdrawing to a safe distance, I personally don't think that is cowardly, bastardly, or wrong. I actually think it's the right thing to do in many circumstances. However, if if you if we are talking about the kind of situation where the man suddenly decide to up and leave and just leave a letter, a note, and then also leaving the woman in a horrible situation such as no way to pay the rent and having to raise their child alone, if there's that kind of repercussion, then that's a completely different situation. I think in those situations, when that happens, then the man is a bastard. The man definitely is the dredge of, you know, human being. But I think in the scenarios where the only thing that is hurt, the only things that are hurt is the woman's pride and the woman's feeling and the woman's emotion, when there's no actual physical, factual uh, damage or devastation, then it's more in line with what I have done myself. And like I said, I do not think of it as being a dastardly, cowardly thing to do. And this is why I have, like I said, done it this way twice in my life. The first time I told the lady that we were not going to be together after she uh, I sent her home, saw her off on the Greyhound bus. To be fair, in this instance, I had already multiple times expressed to her while we were together that this was not going to be a long-term thing. So this, as much as she later um, resented me and tried to say that I did a cowardly thing, I feel that I did not. Uh, I did not do it as a surprise. I feel that I had given her plenty of cues and clues and outright told her that this was going to happen. Now, the fact that she did not agree with my decision is incidental. The second time, uh, that is my previous relationship that had lasted 18 years, and in the end, I ended the relationship right before I boarded a flight out of the country. And I chose to do it that way. I chose to do it that way. So why? Why would I do things this way? Why would I, who uh, always view myself as an honorable person, who always uh, view myself as a brave and badass individual, why would I do something like this? Why would I be such a bastard? I'm going to give you guys a three. Now, of course, I'm not going to presume to speak for every man out there, and don't get me wrong, there are women who do things this way too. Though it's not just a man thing, but since I am coming from a man's perspective, I'm going to just address men. I I obviously can't speak for all the men out there, so I'm just going to speak strictly for myself. Now, if you guys find that what I say fit into your reasoning, your scenario, then great. And if you find that what I say is utter trash and doesn't make sense, well, then too bad. The first reason why I would choose to withdraw from a relationship in this fashion is to preserve dignity, and not just my own dignity for both sides. Now, don't get me wrong. If I believe that when I tell you, hey, I don't like you anymore, I'm not having fun with you anymore, and let's break up. If I believe that you are going to be nice and calm and uh, and civilized about it, I would definitely say it to your face. I have no problem doing that. But as we know, most people, myself included, when people tell us they don't want us anymore, they don't want us in their life anymore, we don't take it too well. No, most of us we don't take rejection very well. And don't forget, when I going to do this to somebody that I'm being in love with, especially in this previous relationship. I've been with the woman for 18 years. I knew her reaction. I knew what kind of reaction I could expect from her. It wasn't going to be calm. It wasn't going to be civilized. So there's no point for me to put myself in a situation where I have my own pain to deal with, my own grief to deal with, and then having If you, as a woman, as a person I just told to, start trying to beg, you go down on your knee trying to beg, or you're trying to hug me, or trying to hold on to me, and you know, crying. There's a lot of tears. There's a lot of crying, screaming, begging. Why deal with that? There's no point. There's no point dealing with that. Okay? I much rather be at a safe distance where I deal with my pain. I cry on my own, and you cry on your own, and neither of us have to be embarrassed later about things we say or things we do at this moment of extreme stress and extreme emotion. So that's the first reason, to preserve dignity. That's the second reason, is to preserve civility. Again, like I said, I have my own pain to deal with. Obviously, not heartless, so I'm not going to uh, be like all happy and carefree when this is happening. I feel in many ways just as bad as the person I just break up with, probably worse in some ways because I am being uh, I'm having to make a very difficult decision and put myself in the seat of in the role of almost a villain in everyone else's eyes by being the one who initiates a breakup and being the one who uh, decide how to do it. Okay? It's a lot of stress. Being unless it's we are talking about some guy who just doesn't care, some guy who uh, uh, is really that much of a jerk, then it's okay. I mean, if the guy is that much of a jerk, then you don't need him in your life. But believe me, when I say that, for people like myself, if I have to decide to leave, if I have to decide to break up the relationship, it's hard. It's really, really rough because I am going against my grain. I'm going against my principle. I'm going against my idea of not quitting and never give up. So it's really rough. So when I have to deal with this, I don't need the extra drama of you throwing things, you trying to stab me with a knife, you trying to scream your head off, and you trying to hit me or claw my face. Because when that happens, then I'm left with an uncomfortable place. I have to try to restrain you physically, and maybe the police will get involved, and then the news reporter will get involved, and it's just not civilized all the way around. So it's much better if we do this at a safe distance where you can throw things in your own living room, I can throw things in my hotel room, and then once we get it out of our system, then we can start this healing process. Reason number three, to preserve time. To preserve time. When I do something like this, when I leave a note, I'm breaking up with you. I'm sorry and goodbye. If I leave a note like that, and my notes are never that short, by the way, my last note to my ex-girlfriend was like a 10-page letter written in a very detailed fashion and all the reasons why I decided that it's best and we were not together anymore. I left nothing to doubt or question. I was very thorough about that. When I do that, this is a goodbye. This is uh, this is done. In my mind, I'm going. This is not a negotiation. This is not up for debate. So for me to sit there across the table from you and trying to tell you the reason why I'm going. And I'm trying to and then for you to try to convince me otherwise, and for me to tell you that it's not going to work, and then it's all that back and forth, and like I said, the throwing things, the screaming, the tears, that's a waste of time because you are not going to change my mind. If I decided after 18 years to leave a relationship, I had very, 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 very strong reasons. Yes, I said reasons. It's not for one thing, it's not for two things. It might be 20, 30 different things. Okay? So I have my mind made up. It's time to go. This is not up for discussion. There's nothing you or anyone could have said that can make me change my mind. By the way, I'm saying you like I'm saying it to you guys, but uh, no, I'm just using the royal you, putting you guys in the place of whoever that I've done this to, just to make this flow a little bit better. Meanwhile, I'm trying to use my hand to block Aslan from knocking the camera over because I really don't want to have to start this over again. So to preserve dignity, preserve civility, preserve time, and in the end, it came down to, in both instances, it's not something that I would change my mind about. In both instances, I made up my mind that it was not going to continue, and that was that. Now, some people might say, well, yeah, but you are assuming the other person is going to cry. You're assuming the other person is going to throw things. You're assuming the other person is going to get violent. You're assuming a lot of things. You're not being fair. You're not giving the other person a chance. Let's leave out the first instance, because the first instance, as I said, that I actually told the lady multiple times while we were together that this was my plan. I was not going to stay in that relationship long term. So let's leave that one out because that one was actually really obvious. I did give her a chance. I did tell her multiple times. Uh, let's look at the second 18 years my 18 years relationship that I decided to end in that very cowardly, very dramatic fashion. After 18 years, how many more chances would you think I need to give you? I think if I've stayed in the relationship for that long, there has already been countless chances given. I think that's long enough for me to know that you're not going to react well, that nothing is going to change, that this was a doomed relationship. Now, if we were only together for 2 months, then okay, I may say that you guys might be right, and I should give the person a chance, uh, maybe a third chance, a fourth chance. But after 18 years, nah. After 18 years, to having to give a chance, it's a moot point. It's totally pointless. It will be a waste of time. As to that, if it's a not very fair thing to do, you're right. It's not fair. It's not meant to be fair. Obviously, if I decide to leave a relationship, I already feel that there were things done to me or things that offended me that made me feel, hey, this is not fair. So in the end, it's simply a case of me using an unfair way to say goodbye to an unfair relationship to begin with. Is it a bastard thing to do? Yes, definitely. Uh, Was I a bastard for doing it 2 times? Probably. Probably quite so. Uh, to be honest, I uh, am not sure that I've even really forgiven myself for doing those 2 times, because it is a heck of a thing to do to someone. But I'm at peace with myself when I remember that sometimes, and this is the thing about being an adult, yes, sometimes there's simply no good decision. Sometimes there's simply no good choices. It's just a whole bunch of bad choices. And it's up to us to try to be man enough to choose the hard thing to do, to make the hard decision, hoping for the best outcome. And you know what? Both times I did this thing that people said the cowardly thing to do, both times it resulted in pretty positive outcomes. So I think in the end, maybe it's not so evil after all. If you enjoy this Soul Search Sunday, why not check out the Johnny Tiger Experience podcast? You can find it at any podcast platform. Just search for Johnny Tiger Experience. There you will find martial arts, self-defense, cooking instructions, Mandarin lessons, stories from the old days, just like our Wisdom Wednesday, and there are many little soul search moments you can enjoy. Thank you for checking out today's Soul Search Sunday. We'll be back again tomorrow for Music Monday. For now, have a good night.